people. Neva's just saying goodbye to Belle. Belle had to leave, so she'll be right back. We'll just pick this up in 2 minutes. So letters this evening from telegrams, correct. Telegrams, they still send telegrams. Yetta's sister, Evie, and Jack were in Colorado right now. And dear Yetta and Jack, even though we're not able to be with you in person to share the special occasion of your 50th anniversary, we wanted you to know we're all thinking of you and wish you many more years of good health and happiness. With love, Evie and Jack. Melissa and Marty. Thank you both. Melissa and Marty as well. Okay? This microphone you have to have it inside your mouth in order to be able to be heard. From Joel and Valerie. Dear Jack and Yetta, 50 years and still going strong. How can anybody say Yetta without adding Jack? No. Joel and Valerie. Okay? Jack and Yetta are the Jewish version of Jack and Jill. They just go together. Before long, we will start to say, "How's Jetta?" As the need to simplify our life and put less strain kicks in. We have actually known you almost 50% of that time. Can you believe that? We've shared some up times, down times. We consider you our Canadian family. We covet and rejoice, sweat, and sweat out the medical reports and just plain care about you both. You give 50 years of marriage a good name. Congrats to both of you on this day. You are fit and fine and love Joel and Valerie. Keith, would you care to come and add some words?
Diane, you held up the bowling ball. I just can't resist. Mom and Dad, this is what it's all about. Now I know what it's all about. It's only been 4 months ago that I got this new perspective on what it means to be a parent and how you and parented me and Shelley over the years and how much I appreciate it. I appreciate it even more now than ever before. I really understand what you put into it. Okay, Anna, you ready to talk? Anna would like to make a little speech.
Shelley's not here.
Yeah.
We repeated all of Shelley's speech. Well, we'll just wait.
Well,
So sometimes here in the meantime.
Yeah.
Shelley is.
all these photographs are for sale. See around. Wonderful memory 50 years ago. Mr. and Mrs. Beeman request the pleasure of your company in the marriage of their daughter Yetta to Jack, son and Mr. and Mrs. W. Levitt, Monday the 4th of September, 1950, 5:30 p.m. at the Marlborough Hotel, Blue Room, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Bride's residence, 1798 Logan Avenue. And that's a real plus. What a special day and what an unbelievable evening so far. I will very shortly present a slideshow, but before I do, I want to say a few words to you, Mom and Dad. Mom, You are the nicest person that God has put on this earth. Everyone that knows you, Mom, you have taught me the meaning of menschlichkeit, of compassion for others, of selflessness, of kindness. Over the years, you have spent countless hours helping others, making them feel special. Mom, you are so special, and I'm so proud to say that you are my mother. Whenever I need someone to talk to, some advice or support, I can always count on you, Mom. And Dad, you and I spent so much time together, having worked together for over 17 years, and it has been a pleasure. I have the best mentor a person can want in business. You continually amaze me with your analytical abilities and business acumen, and how well, whoa. Okay, Anna, you can talk. And you amaze me at how well you handle the role of tracing cooker. All of your successes are so deserving. But Dad, I respect and admire you for much more than your talents in business. You have always put our family as your highest priority. You always set time for us. And isn't it wonderful how you and I can talk about almost any subject? I could confide in you and seek advice about very personal matters. Mom and Dad, you are both responsible for so many of my values, beliefs, and personality traits. Going through and organizing the photos that you are about to see in the slideshow has made this perfectly clear. It's obvious from where I get my passion for photography. Dad, you have taken thousands of great photos over the years. And Mom, your organizational abilities have certainly come from you. You have all Dad's photos so very well organized in albums, all so impressively numbered and labeled. And the wedding album that you were looking for today, now you know where it is. And my travel bug, well, no wonder. Mom and Dad, you have gone on countless of trips and some amazing adventures as well. The sign company convention in Japan in the 1960s, to name an early one, not a bad place for a sign convention. The slideshow will give everyone here a brief insight into that part of your lives as well. Now, Dad, I hold you responsible for me taking my time in getting married. Or maybe, Mom, you are responsible. But obviously, Dad, you have chosen the perfect wife when you married Mom, and the pressure was on me to follow in your footsteps. I searched and definitely took longer than you had, and it wasn't easy, but finally, less than 2 years ago, I did as you did 50 years ago. Married the perfect girl, Linda. Mind you, I'll be brushing 90 years old in our 50th anniversary. And having a child, our beautiful daughter Hannah, only 4 months ago, has put a whole new perspective on how I cherish the upbringing that I have had, and my appreciation for everything you have done for Diane, Shelley, and me. I promise our children that I will do what I can to be the parents to them that you have been for us. Mom and Dad, Linda and I, Vanessa, Natasha, and Hannah all love you very much. Mazel tov. Okay, now if we could dim the lights. "50 years ago, my parents set out, and what you will see is a wonderful adventure, full of family, travel, business success, and lots of nachas. These first pictures are before my parents got married, and as you all can see this evening, my mother's beauty hasn't faded. Here she is in her teens. And Dad, I'm sure there's a story behind this picture. It's one of the earliest photos I could find. It looks like your future was either construction or baseball. An early picture of Mom and Dad dating. As everyone knows, Mom comes from a very large family. Sitting around this table at Aunt Molly's and Uncle Norman's engagement party at Don Carlos Casino, you will see all of the brothers and sisters and some future spouses, and the few that didn't make the cut. This was in 1947. Mom, you always told me that Dad courted you in the Levitt Sign Company truck, but I didn't realize that you had to ride in the back. Mom, no wonder you went for Dad. This picture says it all. 1947. Here is a shot I found of Dad with many of his lifelong friends, some of whom we are fortunate to have here tonight. I see my dad in the front row, second from the left, Meyer Silverstein on his right, Lawrence Neeson a few seats over, and Eddie Shell. Is there anybody else there that might be here? Is that Saul Morantz in the background? Saul, is that you? Okay. I love this picture. It has everything in it that I love. Beautiful scenery in the mountains, great cars, and my dad, of course. From this picture, we can see Mom and Dad getting serious in their matching sweaters. Once Dad got a hold of Mom, you could see that he wasn't about to let go. Dad, I think you went a little bit too far.
That's Jim.
A beautiful picture of Mom and Dad celebrating Mom's 22nd birthday in 1950. I'm sure that all of you have had the chance to look at the beautiful photographs around the room from my parents' wedding. And here are a few photos from their honeymoon. Mom and Dad drove to California and had a wonderful adventure. Mom saw the future in the hotel industry early in their marriage, but we haven't named the hotel after her. This is Mom and Dad at Clara and Uncle Max's wedding. This is a picture of my dad and his mother, Baba Levitt, with their first grandchild, Barbara Moser, in the early 50s. It's amazing how much my dad resembles my Baba. Mom, baby beauty. This is a picture taken in 1952. Here we have my mom and baby Diane with Auntie Molly and Marilyn. Mom and Dad's new car in 1953, a Meteor. April 1955, Mom and Dad with Auntie Molly and Uncle Norman at the Rancho Don Carlos. Here's a picture from 1955 of Mom and Dad, Diane, Auntie Clara, and friends in front of their first house on Semple Avenue. 1955, Mom and Diane, 3 years old, picnic in park with Zeta Minuk, Auntie Molly Vinsky, and somebody else. Diane with Dad in park. Diane blowing up the candles at her 3rd birthday party. Hey Diane, it looks like a genie's cake was her favorite even back then. Continuation of Diane's party. So this would have been exactly blank number of years ago. I don't want to give it away again. 1956, Mom in front of house on Semple Avenue after shoveling driveway. Mom, Auntie Clara, and Uncle Max and Diane. Dad with Diane in the park. Now this one you love. The three pregnant ladies, Auntie Clara with Fern, Mom with Shelley, and Auntie Evie with Rennie. Mom holding Shelley is only 1 month old. 1956, Diane, the proud owner of a new baby sister, Shelley. Shelley, 4.5 months old, the same age as Hannah. Bob and Zeta Levitt with Diane and Shelley. Looks like Shelley's learning to walk, much to Bob Levitt's surprise. 1957, Shelley and Diane's 5th birthday party. Shelley, 15 months. Is Shelley here? Okay. Now here's Diane at 5 years old. Beauty. March 1958, Diane and Mom on a cruise in Acapulco. I mean, Dad and Mom. Here's a wonderful picture of the entire Minute family. And here I am, 2 months old. And here at 6 months. Here is Mom and Dad in Hawaii, 1960, in the Japanese tea house called the Ishi Garden, a prelude to the Ichiban. Here, Mom, Diane, and I are playing on the front lawn of our home ensemble. Dad and Mom, with cool shades, on deck of SS Statesman Holland American cruise ship. Mom, those shades are very cool. July 1962, the family at Detroit Lakes. And this is me at the age of 3. Thank you. Here I am with Shelley. Thank you. 1963. I love the shop, Mom. You were the champion of both shuffleboard and ping pong. And Dad, you didn't do too badly either. Shuffleboard trophy. This is a picture from our Passover Seder in 1963. Bob and Zeta Minuk shared our Seder with us. Here we're celebrating the Pesach Seder with Uncle Harry and Auntie Annette's family. You heard some groaning over in the corner there? Auntie Molly, Auntie Annette, Mom and Auntie Clara at City Park. This picture is important, as Dad had a real passion for tent-pin bowling, and we have his bowling ball with us tonight. He was a city champ in 1964 and won numerous other championships. He opened the first tent-pin bowling lane in Western Canada, and since then our family has spent a lot of time enjoying this rigorous sport. 1964, Mom with Bob and Zeta Minuk in front of their cottage in Phoenix. Our first color photo, Dad at the Electric Sign Association convention. 1964, Mom with Shelley and I on the way to Winnipeg Beach when Dad stopped to help someone change a flat tire. 1964, Mom, Auntie Annette, Auntie Clara celebrating Annette and Harry's 15th anniversary at Bob and Zeta Minuk's home. Another vacation for Mom and Dad at Stones in Buffalo. 1965, our family at Cousin Martin Rosenbaum's bar mitzvah. 1965, Shelley and I at Diane's graduation from Parrott School. Check out Shelby's purse and gloves. Mom and Dad, Auntie Annette and Uncle Harry in Miami Beach. Mom and Dad in Las Vegas, casinos sure have changed. 1966, face-off Seder at home, and all lined up according to height. 1966, Mom and her lifelong friend Libby, who has come such a far way with her husband Irv to help celebrate tonight's Simcha. And there's Lori. Winnipeg Beach, 1966. Here's a nice picture of Mom and her parents. Mom with her roses, 16th anniversary. Mom and Dad on a tropical holiday with nice hair. Zeta Manu's 70th birthday, 1968. Auntie Molly, Mom, Auntie Annette, and Auntie Golden. Mom and Dad with Bob and Zeta Levitt, 1968. Mom getting off plane in Eilat, Israel, 1969. Mom and Dad with Uncle Harry and Auntie Annette in Trafalgar Square, London, with pigeons on arm. Now, Dad, as a photographer, I can say I love this portrait. You look like a movie star. 1970, Dino's Continental Restaurant, Mexico. Mom and Dad with Honey and Harold Cowell, Shirley and Lawrence Neeson. Mom and Dad with Uncle Harry and Auntie Annette hitting the jackpot in Vegas, 70. With a smoke in his fingers. Mom and Dad took the family on some great trips. Here we are in Hawaii, December of 1970. 1971, Mom and Dad. 1971, Dad in his second year as president of Parrott School, giving a speech at the grade 7 graduation ceremonies. Okay, I take back what I said about you looking like a movie star. '72, Mom and Dad, Sharon and Sid Schwartz, Judy and Sam Linhart. 1972, Portrait of Mom, movie star. December 1972, family roundtable at restaurant with a Hart family from Las Vegas and the Neesons. 1972, Baba Manuk's 78th birthday with Auntie Goldie. 1973, trip to Holland. Dad striking a pose in Aruba. Diane's graduation from social work, University of Manitoba, 1973. Dad and Mayor Juba, the opening of the Ichiban Japanese Steakhouse in Winnipeg, 1973. Dad giving one of his famous speeches at the opening. Mom and Dad enjoyed many visits with my Bob and Zeta Levitt in Miami Beach. 1974, Royal Bank opening. This is the first photo of one of Dad's many ribbon cuttings. From this photo, you could tell that we're in the 70s. This picture's a great one, as my dad is a true giant in the development industry. This is a great picture of Mom and Jerry. Jerry has been an important part of our family since the early 70s. Mom and Dad with the Simpkins, taking in a show at Caesar's Palace. 24 years ago, we surprised Mom and Dad on their 26th wedding anniversary. Yeah, Mom, you were surprised. Topping off ceremony, Intercity Gas Building, Dad and his business partners. And the proud family. 1977, Florida. Waving. Dad always enjoyed a good game of tennis. Here he is at Vic Braden's tennis camp in 1978. Now you can look at those arrows. The ball is going one way, the racket's going the other way. Not connecting. 3 generations. And here we have Brent, Mom and Dad's first grandchild, making it 4 generations, 1983. Mom with Brent. In 1985, my dad accomplished an unprecedented achievement by opening 3 Sheraton hotels in 1 year. Here Mom and Dad are at the grand opening of the Sheraton in Winnipeg. It was a very special occasion as Zeta Levitt was with us to cut the ribbon. The second Sheraton was opened in Hamilton the same year. Here are my parents with Lou Land and his wife. Mom celebrating another special event, the birth of Tara, their second grandchild in 1990. In 1990, the Gimli Resort opened, and here is Dad sitting with the dignitaries at the grand opening. As I mentioned before, it has been a pleasure working with Dad, and it's always exciting sharing these special occasions with him. Here, Mom and Dad are celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary. Approximately 10 years ago, to the day. And here we all are in 1990. Diane and Raymond celebrated their wedding in 1991. Mother and father of the bride. The birth of their 3rd grandchild. Here you are, Darren. Dad, the proud Zeta, performing an age-old custom at Darren's breast. And here's our family at Brent's bar mitzvah in 1996. And here's a photo taken 2 years ago at Linda and my wedding at the bedecking ceremony with our parents. April 1999, groundbreaking at the 4 Points Airport Hotel. October 1999, grand opening of Lakeview Inns and Suites in Brandon. October 99, photo with relatives at grand opening of Lakeview Inns and Suites in Brandon. And this is, you see all the smiles, it's because we announced that Linda was pregnant right at that moment. And here's Mom and Hannah, who's only 10 days old. In June, we celebrated Hannah's baby naming. Hannah Malka is named after my Baba Malka Levitt, who you can see in the painting by my talented Zeta. Hannah is screaming there. Rosh Hashanah, 1999. This is a picture of the entire family. And yes, Hannah is there too. More than a gleam in the eye. And that's the end of the slideshow.
The song is going to be played, and it's a song that you've all heard many, many times.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Libby, would you like to come and join us for a couple of words, please? Thank you.
Okay, I'm very soft. I speak very softly, so I'll have to talk a little louder. Most of you, some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm Libby Rymaszewski and my husband Irvin, and we are so happy that we were able to come to Yetta and Jack's 50th anniversary. And there's a story behind our friendship that maybe some of you don't know about. As a young girl of 15, I came here and stayed with my cousins and had 3 aunts and uncles and 9 cousins. And I went to school at St. John's Tech. And the first day I went to school, I wasn't going to wear that awful looking uniform, which was that black tunic, you know, with that white blouse and those black ugly stockings. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So I came dressed up to school with a plaid skirt and a cashmere sweater and a big flower in my hair. and I walked in the room and all the girls were with those black tunics. And I thought, oh my gosh, and I felt terrible. I thought, well, I look so odd. And anyway, the teacher sat me down and I was sitting, and this boy in front of me kept turning around, looking at me and saying, you know, making all kinds of funny faces at me and things like that. Anyway, there was a very lovely looking young girl sitting next to me, and she said to me, I hear that you're from the United States, and I suggest I'm from Wisconsin, Milwaukee. And she says, and you're staying out here now? And I said, yes, I am. And she says, well, where are you staying? And I said, I'm staying with my cousin. And she said, where do they live? And I said, they live on Magnus Avenue. And she says, oh, I live on Powers. She said, that's right around the corner. And she says, oh, and this is my friend Clarice. And would you like to go home with us? You know, we can walk home with you at lunchtime and after school. And from that meeting at school, we have become friends. That has lasted 56 years, which is a long time. Anyway, we have gotten together, and many times over the years, we got to meet Jack after about a year after they got married. They came to Milwaukee and we saw them and met them, and it was wonderful. They're such wonderful people. And through the years, we met at various places, Yetta and I, and Jack and Yetta and I, maybe Palm Springs, California, San Francisco, Las Vegas. And I just wanted to tell you all that there aren't any better people than Jack and Yetta, and we love them with all our hearts, and we wish them mazel tov.
Thank you, Libby. Mel Manishin, where are you hiding right now? Mel, you've always been there for Jack. Today you were almost here for me. We called you and said Raymond's having some problems with his work. Mel, would you try to do a little bit for us like you did for Raymond and Diane at their wedding? And you jumped up and said, I'd like to fill his shoes in your humble way. I can't, but I'll stand in for him. So, Mel, thank you very much. I managed to get back. As you probably know, things are still a little tense at the work. I did get home for this because it's so important. Please come and say a few words.
Okay, folks, this is just the beginning. This is going to go on for about an hour yet. If you think you're looking at Larry King, you're not.
Thank you, Mel.
Now, take off your jackets because we'll be able to get them. Well, Raymond and Diane, Shelley and Keith said all the nice things about Jack and Yetta that I wanted to say, so we're going to save some time there. A lot of you people in this room think we're here tonight to celebrate Jack and Yetta's 50th. It's really not that. It's a year ago today, in this very room, we celebrated the Minuk reunion. That's what we're really celebrating tonight. Now, what I'd like is anybody that's a Minuk or related to a Minuk, please stand up. Okay, a few more. There's got to be a few more in here. Okay, just so you'll, that's okay. Just so you'll know, a year ago today, Judge Sam Minuk didn't pay the hotel the full bill. So before you leave, I'm going to want about $60 for each of you. And you're all on film. But anyway, let's get down to some serious business. You know, when Jack heard that this affair was going to be taking place at the Fort Garry, he said, gee, if I knew that, I'd have built another hotel. We tried to get, you know, the kids tried to get this accommodation at the Gimli Hotel, but they were all sold out. Now, I just took a look at a picture, and I think it was every table had a picture of Jack with his beautiful hat. Now, if you haven't seen it, take a good look at it. This is the first time in my life I realized that the Godfather was Jewish. Anyway, I could go on and on with stories about Jack. But first of all, before we get to Jack, before the evening started, I went up to Harry Minuk. I said, Harry, do you ever watch the TV program, How Would You Like to Be a Millionaire? He says, sure. I said, so what do you think of it? He says, why should I take a cut? Anyway, I'm only going to tell you one or two stories about Jack, because of Yetta, we've covered her thoroughly. We don't have to say too much about Yetta. Only one thing, that Raymond and Philip and Keith all did something that I admire a great deal, because many years ago I heard this story. A young man who wants to marry happily should pick out a good mother and marry one of her daughters. And any one of them will do. And again I say, Raymond, Philip, and Keith all followed this example. But now we'll get on to Jack. Over the years, and I've known Jack for a long, long time, and there are three outstanding stories about him that I'll always treasure. One, when he was about 11 years old, he idolized his father, and anything his dad asked him to do, he did. And they were in the sign business in those days. The signs were painted in the garage. And Jack's late father said, I want you to go to Berditsky and collect for some signs we painted. So Jack went to Berditsky. He said, Mr. Berditsky, you owe us for the signs. Mr. Berditsky said, this is going back many years, pretty tough time. Mr. Berditsky says, I haven't got the money to pay you, but I'll give you 12 cases of Winola. See, a lot of you people in this room aren't old enough to remember Winola. Kick you remember, but Winola you don't. So Jack took the wagon with the 12 cases of Winola, took it to his dad, and he says, Pa, we have the Winola, what should we do? His dad says, you'll take them to the store, and you'll trade the Winola for chickens. And this is the story of Jack's life. He traded the chickens for an apartment block. The apartment block right next door. And all his life. You know, it was Winola that made Jack. And then over the years, I once went on to Jack when the sign business wasn't going too good. And I said, Jack, how do you handle all these problems? He said, no, what do you mean? He says, with all these signs that you're not getting paid for, how do you handle it? He said, Mel, my mind is never on the problems. The problems will always be there. My mind is on the solutions to the problems. And that's one of the ways Jack has lived his life, is on the solutions to the problems. And so those were two stories, but several weeks ago, Jack gave me a pearl of wisdom that I'm going to treasure and keep forever. I don't think you remember this story. Jack said to me, you know, when I was in the sign business, when I was a kid, everything we did was 5 years. When you leased a sign, you wouldn't collect for 5 years. So you lived your life waiting to see whether during that 5 years you'd get paid for the sign. And he said it was then I learned how important it is in life to be able to plan 5 years ahead. He said, in fact, when I got married, I sat back and I was able to plan everything right through to my 50th anniversary. And I hope, Jack, that everything went according to plan. I want to thank you all for being a great audience. I'm sorry you couldn't be listening to Larry King.
Rose?
Somebody's glasses, I can't see. So. I wrote a little poem relating to the Levitt's and the Shells. Friends forever. That's Yetta and Jack. A lifetime of friendship and closeness for Eddie and myself, becoming one happy family throughout the years. Wonderful times together. Winnipeg Beach, Winnipeg, 100 Acre Road, Miami Beach, Las Vegas, and the ill-fated cruise to Nassau. Honor to attend family functions, soft turnings, and openings of new buildings. Always there when needed, no ifs or buts. Never, never to forget a birthday, anniversary, whatever. I think that was mentioned before. A phone call and a card is a must. Friends forever. That sums up our long relationship with Yetta and Jack. Happy 50th anniversary. Enjoy many more in health and happiness. Overwhelmed and delighted to celebrate with you. Mazel tov, Yetta and Jack. With love, your friends forever, Eddie and Rose. And that's me.
Kelly Gorin, would you like to come and say a few words with us?
1 inch from the mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. My brother says 1 inch from the mic. He's the speaker in the family, but now today's my turn. I was allowed 2 minutes, but I felt that for some reason I wanted to add a little bit of humor to my speech. My speech actually was supposed to be very humorous, but I changed it. I felt that I should do something sentimental, something real. And for the 30 years that I've met and spent with my friend Yetta, hopefully another 30 years, it gives me this opportunity to write my own poem in a way that I have experienced or witnessed or learned from my friend Yetta. But before that, here's a bit of humor. I usually call Yetta at 10 a.m. in the morning, and she will say politely, "Can I call you back in a few minutes?" This goes on quite often. I often wondered, why she usually says, "I'll call you back in a few minutes." One time I called her exactly 10 a.m. in the morning. She forgot to hang up the phone. I am listening to what's going on. I can tell by the smiles on your face that you probably never knew that you had the phone off the hook. Here I am listening, and Jack is trying to grab a sneak of a kiss before he goes to work. And you were very obliging, and I'll tell you something. You didn't call me back that day. So I'm giving my secret now to you. 50th anniversary. At one time, I believe you told me that Jack does not go to work in the morning unless he gets a kiss. So now I understand why I have to phone. So I watch the clock in the morning, and I wait patiently, and I wait for 5 minutes after 10. I call, I says, "Yetta, is it clear now?" Yes. Anyhow, this is the one that I wrote. It's a little bit more serious. Do you want a Kleenex? Yeah? You got lots of Kleenex? Okay, I first met Yetta some 30 years ago when both of us chaired a tea and fashion show at the Parrot School. We've been very close friends ever since. I have tried to put together a poem which describes Yetta in my view as best as possible. It is called My Friend Yetta. My friend Yetta is someone who listens without judging right or wrong, good or bad. And so I have to keep all my gossip to myself, and that makes me sad. When I am not feeling good about myself, Yetta is there to remind me of all the positive qualities I may have. Decision-making becomes easier and problems seem to disappear. You may not be as Mother Teresa, but in my books, you are pretty near. You have given me the priceless gift of time. Time to share, to try out new ideas. You are a person who likes one for whom they are and not for what they do. Therefore, feeling so accepted, I am able to set higher goals and try harder to achieve more. Through our friendship, I've learned the fine art of giving, but still I cannot give up the fun part of receiving. Yet you are always concerned about the next person and give a great sense of well-being. Your sincere caring is like a magnet to everyone and everything. Yetta, I love you. To you and your loving husband, Jack, who are the finest couple of people in this world, both Norm and I wish you both Mazel Tov on this very special 50th anniversary. Amen.
Sheldon, would you like to come and say a few words? Thank you very much, Dylan.
So, as I looked around the room this evening at all the various pictures, I didn't realize what an outstanding, good-looking family we really have. And thank God it's passed down to my generation. Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sheldon Manook, and I'm the nephew to Jack and Yetta. You can tell I'm a generation younger because I'm taking my glasses off to read instead of putting them on. When Diane asked me to say a few words, I instantly agreed, mainly because I like to hear myself talk. Just kidding. Well, that's what my wife does. The real reason is that I have a tremendous respect and admiration for both Auntie Etta and Uncle Jack. I'm honored to be here to acknowledge their 50th anniversary. You know, 50 years is a tremendous accomplishment. I've been married for over 20 years, but it's been split between a couple of wives. For me to get to 50, I have one. Forget it. Just kidding. As many of you know, my parents last year celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. I'd like to share with you a special, sweet story about my parents. One night, they were sitting on the couch, and my mom said, "Harry, do you remember how you used to sit close to me?" My dad moved close to her. She then said, "Harry, do you remember how you used to put your arms around me?" He put his arms around me. "Harry, do you remember how you used to hug me and kiss me and nibble on my ear?" Nibble on my ear. With that, my dad got up and started to leave the room. My mom said, "Harry, where are you going?" And he said, "For that, I'll need my teeth." I'm sure Auntie Etta and Uncle Jack have shared those same kind of tender moments together over the last 50 years. You know, my parents usually travel with Etta and Jack once, twice a year. They go to Florida, Hawaii, and I like to come and freeload with my parents. And as a result, I've spent a lot of time with Auntie Etta and Uncle Jack over the years. Got to tell you, going out for dinner is especially an entertainment unto itself, but that's another story. I think I know them as well as any of the nieces and nephews, and I think that I can speak for all of my extended family and say what a special couple they really are. They're always there to celebrate special occasions, altering travel plans to do so. They're the first to come and visit when someone is ill, and basically, to sum it up, they're always there for everybody in the family. They've done a particularly tremendous job instilling their children with a sense of family, and I think that's a true measure of success in a marriage. Those family ties are extremely strong in their family, and it's a very admirable thing. I've always been proud to say that Etta and Jack are my aunt and uncle. And I would like, on behalf of all of my family, to wish them another 50 years of good health and happiness, and mazel tov.
I just want to give you, we've got one more person that we're going to hear from. The agenda says Raymond makes closing remarks, dessert table, Jack Levitt sings, everybody leaves. I didn't like the agenda, honestly. Philip Weiss, your life would fill many books. You've been there and you've done it. Please come and share a few of your thoughts with us.
Jack and Yetta, members of Yetta and Jack's family, friends, and I hope we haven't got any enemies here. I would like to start with Diane. Diane, I would like to thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be here. Knowing you, I think that you are already organizing the 100th anniversary of Jack's and Yetta's marriage. Unfortunately, I won't be here. I'm fully booked for the August of the year 2050 with my speaking engagements. So whatever I have to say, I'll say tonight. I would like to mention to you that my speech will be much shorter than Mel Manison's. He took 20 minutes. I'll take only 45. So brace yourself and live with me. It's only once that you get the occasion of the 50 years anniversary of Jack and Yetta. Let me start with one thing, if you are not aware of it. I speak quite often at the University of Winnipeg, University of Manitoba, and other educational institutions on history, contemporary European history, mostly the years of 1933, 1945. Not a very happy period of time. Today, I'm going to speak on history as well, but a different kind of history, Canadian history, a history of 50th anniversary of Levitt's marriage, Jack and Yetta's 50 years of peaceful living, which is extremely important. And I would like you also to know that I'm going to mention something about 50 years of our friendship of Levitt's and Weiss family, which dates back to our parents. And Erna, you are not excluded, even though you are Kimmel. You are still a member of that family, and you played a tremendously important part in that friendship. So Jack and Yetta, I noticed today on the table a napkin saying serving memories since 1913. I'm not going to serve memories. I'm going to relive memories since 1950, which are extremely important to you and important to us. Going back, I see the kaleidoscope of events where it took us back to the times of your parents, Yetta, your parents, and our parents. And those years are unforgettable, and they will stay with us forever and ever. Now, today I shall speak on Jack and Yetta in few words. Jack, with admiration I have to say that from humble beginning with Levitt Sign Company, you became one of the leading entrepreneurs in Winnipeg, where you are being admired by people for your business acumen, for your perseverance, stamina, energy, and resilience. And that's extremely important. But also, those who only are in contact with Jack to Lakeview Development don't know that behind that tough exterior is basically a little pussycat. There lies a good heart of a mensch, in translation, a human being, a good human being, who is willing and eager to help anybody at any time. And this is extremely important in today's society to remember. Yetta, now is your time. Your dignified posture, your diplomatic skills complement your life partner, and also who don't know you, and I think that I do, and I can vouch for that. Your determination and the strength of character played an extremely important part in those 50 years, and I compliment you for it. I know you through myself, I know you through Gertrude. And I know who you are, and keep on doing what you were doing. My admiration to you for what you are. Now, after the few minutes of very serious talk, and they adieu, there's time for everything. There's time to be serious, and there's time for a little fun. And I hope that Jack and Yetta will excuse me my humor, which might be possibly slightly different than yours and yours, but the way I would like to express myself my way, maybe a little bit with the help of Erna, because whatever I'm going to say, I asked Erna to help me. Why did I ask Erna to help me? What do you buy people who are celebrating 50th anniversary? What do you buy people, what do you buy Levitt's when they celebrate 50th anniversary? It was a dilemma. I had many sleepless nights, and Erna as well, and Erna helped me. Why did she? Because she's a woman, and women know so much more. They are so much more informed about these things than men. So I came, and she's my sister, so I came to her, and we started simply. I said, Erna, how about a car? She said, fine, it sounds good. Said, I like a Mercedes or Rolls Royce. That's not bad. I said, I like Jaguar. Oh, we didn't agree. Then it came to color. We disagreed again. So I said, let's skip it. If we can't agree, we'll buy something else. So then, and I said, you know, Philip, and I had to listen to her. You know, Philip, Jack always wears his hair so neatly, and he pays attention to his hair. It's always groomed so beautifully. Maybe we should think about that. I said, how about buying him a new discovery, Swedish discovery? There's new shampoo on the market, which lets the hair grow in abundance. It keeps its luster and tidiness. She said it's a good idea. I said, but it's only $5,000 a small bottle and $9.95 for shipment. And you have to prepay it in advance. And they don't give you any guarantee. I said, let's skip it. That doesn't sound like that's a good thing. So there was The last thing, which was my idea, and I apologize for it. I am a man, I know Jack's age, and I also am involved in some medical research from time to time. I read periodicals. I visit Michael Chefs, which became a very prominent man in Winnipeg, and I noticed something about Viagra. I said, how about taking a good supply of Viagra, placing it in the warehouse on Sargent, and Jack on one of his weekly trips to the warehouse, he'll help himself to the dosage that he needs. And I was extremely disappointed with me. She said, Philip, you can't do that. Anna is the fighter for human rights. Anna is a feminist. He said, this is not right. You're not being fair to Yetta. I said, but Anna, I know also about the new discovery. They are working on one pill where men and women can use at the same time. So it would be fair to Yetta as well. That's a different story. So, Jack and Yetta, unfortunately, you will have to wait for the discovery to come on the market in a very short period of time, and possibly at the next anniversary, I'm going to present you with that. In the meantime, to keep you happy, I have a little scroll from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in honor of Yetta and Jack's 50th wedding anniversary. Mazel tov and best wishes on your 50th wedding anniversary. May you celebrate many more together in good health and happiness. To all the members of the family, to all of you, I wish you l'chaim, my best wishes. Keep well, stay healthy, and good Yom Tov to you.
You discussed it. You never discussed
So, you little pussycat. When you get that warehouse full of Viagra, would you mind telling me? I've got lots of friends who need it. Happy birthday to Thelma Chapman. Whereabouts are you? Oh, okay. We're born the same day as Diane. I just want to close up by saying that from a former Gentile that comes together with a Jewish family, this has been an extremely touching experience for me. I have the roots, as I mentioned at our wedding, that go back some 250 years in Canada. My family got together, and Diane and Darren joined me at our family reunion this summer in Alberta. We celebrated the 60th anniversary of our family getting together. And I remember the early years when I was about 4 or 5, going out to the picnic grounds and having all of our family together. But our family celebrations are significantly different. This family celebrates life every week, the Friday night dinner, and the togetherness. And we get together every year, or 2 years, or 4 years, and it's a completely different thing. And I think you understand because you have much more of a heritage with the togetherness of this family than I have. But it has been one of the most immensely driving forces in my thinking processes about what life is about. Congratulations, Jack and Yetta. We're going to have some dancing. Would anybody else care to say anything before we close? You're not allowed to speak. Come on, Jack. Okay. I'm trying to be now manager.
Well, I did prepare a speech, but I lost it. Because after all, I didn't know about this. It wasn't a secret. Well, I had my tie in my pocket, so that was quite obvious that I knew about it. Anyway, certainly Yetta and I are overwhelmed with this evening. It's a perfect cover-up. It was Diane's birthday, and Shelley said, well, why don't we go to the Fort Garry Hotel? We haven't gone for dinner there. And I said, sure, okay. So we came here, and Keith said, have you seen what they've done to this hotel? They're remodeling? I said, yeah, but not since the gambling moved out. He said, well, I want you to go into the main ballroom and look at the ceiling, because it's really something how they restored it. So I opened the door, I said, Keith, there's a party in there, I can't go in and disturb them. He said, it's okay, just go in, just take a look. Well, when we opened the door and I looked around, at first I really didn't understand what was going on. Sure, I saw a few people that I knew. All right, so they were at the party. And then I saw more people than I knew. And all of a sudden I said to Yetta, I think this is for us. Anyway, we just can't believe how something which took such an immense amount of work, which is very obvious, how it could have been kept a secret. You know, I think that there must be a lot of things going on in my life that I don't know about. Now, I think there's one thing that I'm not going to say I'll never say again, because you know memories are short, but I'll use the word right now. I'll never ever say again. I wonder what happened to the last 50 years. You know, it disappeared. Like, how did it happen? Well, I can say tonight that I know what happened during those 50 years. And they were wonderful 50 years. Business-wise, you know, compliments for me on business. That's what I do for a living, so don't make a big deal of it. But what's important is certainly families, number one, friends, number two. And I've never ever had all my friends, Yetta's friends, together in one room. And every time I look at somebody, I say, well, he looked into my mouth, this dentist over here, who retired recently. And there's another dentist here, he looked into my mouth. Linsky, where is he? Right. And then I'd look over there and I'd see Lawrence Neeson. Well, I remember that Lawrence is afraid of a doctor. And I kept saying to him, you know, Lawrence, when you get to a certain age, and my father taught me this, you have to go and get checked up. You don't go just because something hurts. Because once it hurts, it's probably too late. So you go and you have a checkup. I said, why don't you go to the Mayo Clinic? Because I used to go there every year because my father went. My father had one of the earliest numbers at the clinic. And he died when he was 93. But the doctors used to use him as a sample because he had little tumors in his bladder, and they kept burning them out every 6 months. And after he died, they called me and they said, well, he hasn't been around for a while. What's he been doing? And they actually had documents about my father's, I guess they were malignant, but as long as they were burned out every 6 months, you know, he lived till 93. So Lawrence said to me, I'll go if you go with me. I said, well, I was just there, but okay, I'll go with you. Do you remember that, Lawrence? Lawrence, can you hear me, for Christ's sake? So if you can't hear me, Shirley, when you get home with him, tell him what I said, okay? So anyway, so we went there, and Lawrence, everything was fine with him. But guess what? They found something with me. And I'll tell you that if I hadn't gone, there's a possibility I wouldn't even be here today. They found it, they cured it, and Lawrence, I never did thank you for saving my life. But you probably did. So I looked at Lawrence, and then, you know, I can't start describing all my lifelong events and friends, and because I'm going to miss somebody, and then you'll probably be upset. So look, Harry's looking at me saying, for Christ's sake, why don't you say something about me? Okay. So Yet and I, we've gone on many trips with Harry and Annette, and we were always very good friends when the trip started. And depending on how long the trip was, that's how we kind of felt about each other at the end. If it was a trip like to South Africa, which was for about a month, it was a bloody disaster. What happened there? There was a bus. I still don't know to this day why you got mad at me. And there was a bus that we were supposed to get on, and I didn't see it, and you kept pointing fingers, and I didn't know what the hell you were pointing at, and then you got mad at me. To this day, I don't know what happened. But that was a great trip. It was a great trip. And Harry and Annette traveled with us very often. And I usually say to Yetta, do we have to go with him again? Yetta says, it's my brother. I don't care what you think of him. No? We're going. I said, oh, okay. So, anyway, we go, and everything's wonderful at the beginning. And then everything was fine as long as he stayed at the Elikai and I stayed at the Sheraton. You know, it's great. All of a sudden, Yetta says to me, can't you get him into the Sheraton? I said, well, I'll try. So I got him into the Sheraton, I got him a suite, and now we're usually together every minute of every single day for 3 weeks, for 4 weeks. We're going again, we're going January 5th, we're going January 12th. But, you know, Harry, I am not going to look at that. But Harry, honest to God, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. But when I called you yesterday, and I said, Yetta and I are going on the Paul Gagnon, which is a Radisson cruise ship, out of Tahiti to Bora Bora, and it's a 1-week cruise, and you can go out of Hawaii. It's going to be a great cruise. And you said, what's it going to cost? I said, well, I told you what it was going to cost, and he said, well, is that a bargain? I said, yeah, that's about half the price. And after about 15 or 20 minutes, he said, I don't think we're going to go. So, I really feel bad about it, Harry. On the other hand, if you change your mind, it'll be wonderful to go with you again. probably arrange that if you're that much in need of it. You know, I'm supposed to be a pussycat. Okay, I will, Harry. Don't worry about it. But the one thing I do want to tell you, that traveling with Annette is wonderful. And we get along always. Annette's a diplomat, and if I should say something wrong, you know, she knows how to handle it, or Harry says something wrong, so she kind of keeps things together. And then, of course, Chapnick he used to be there with a camera. You know the old-fashioned cameras that used to weigh about 100 pounds? So he used to carry that goddamn camera, and he used to take pictures of me, and you know, you saw the pictures when I was 23, and I was about half the size of what I am today. So I didn't like the idea of you taking those pictures of me all the time. And that's why I didn't spend a lot of time with you in Hawaii. But on the other hand, the last few years, you haven't had that camera. And have you noticed how well we got along? You'll admit that, won't you? And anyway, so Eddie Shell, Meyer, are you still here, Meyer? You know that if it wasn't for me, Meyer would not be playing golf today. That's true. That's true, right? But I'm going to tell you a story which I think it's true, Meyer, and I don't want you to get up and say that it's not a fact. But I used to go playing golf with you, with Norman Lachter, and we used to get at 5 o'clock in the morning. We'd go to Tuxedo Golf Course, and the best I ever got down to was probably in the mid-90s, you know, which is not being a great golfer. And then I quit playing golf for about 20 years. Meyer called me up one day, and by the way, the reason I quit is because you talked me into going to Bell Acres. When I got there, the mosquitoes were so bad that I figured to hell with this game, and I quit playing golf from that point on. So anyway, so you talked me into going, and I did. And if you remember, Meyer, I shot the same score 20 years later that I did 20 years ago in the mid-90s. And you were wondering, how could that possibly happen? And the answer is very simple. When you try to prove something, you're always going to screw up. Okay? If you have nothing to prove, you'll do far better. So what did I have? I had nothing to prove 20 years later. So that's the reason that my game was as good as it was 20 years ago. Because you know my attitude. When I get involved in something, I try to be the best possible, and I work very hard at it. And if it's not my game, well, I just don't do well. But I still try. Anyway, Philip, thank God for Philip Wise. You know, as a friend, the fact that his mother and Erna's mother and my father and my mother passed away were wonderful friends, and they lived at 100 Lincoln Road in Miami Beach. And whenever we were there visiting my parents, Mrs. Wise would call us down, and my father, and they got along so well. So our relationship goes back exactly what you described, Philip, to our parents. But then Philip is a wonderful business person. He's not an upholsterer, but he designs furniture, and he has people that do the upholstery work. And if you remember, Philip's work was always top-notch, always has, and I'm sure always will be. Then Philip became a consultant to Lakeview. Every time we built a project and it required furniture, Philip took the job on as a consultant. And I have to tell you that it was a pleasure working with him. The fact that he saved us a lot of money, which is without question, I'm talking about saving hundreds of thousands of dollars over all the years. But just working with him, it was always such a pleasure, and we always got along so well. And Erna, of course, I see his right-hand man, his right-hand woman. But Erna was always there, and she was, she ran the office for him, and I'm sure she kept things together. So, as I said, I have so many friends here. Of course, the Cases and Libby and Irv Vermashevsky, and they came a long way. Imagine driving 800 miles for this event. Yet and I are really, really thankful for that. And Libby, you are such a wonderful friend of Yetta's. I don't know if you even know how close she is to you. But it's a fact. Yetta is a genius in her work. Yetta sits at the kitchen table and she assembles documents and minutes from trips. Whenever we go on a trip, she pulls out a little piece of paper and a pencil and she writes a few lines, and I say, what are you writing there? Oh, it's nothing. But then she accumulates all these things, and then she puts them all together, and she puts them into albums. She's got an album for every single year, just about since we were married. And there's a whole big closet we've got, and they're all numbered. And anytime you want to know something, give her an idea about when it was and how it'll come. Talk about that bill from 50 years ago for this hotel. We were sitting at a table, our table, I think it was a Passover Seder, and that's when I saw an ad that said if you spent your honeymoon at the Fort Garry Hotel, and if you could produce the bill, we'll let you stay at the hotel for the same amount. So I said, well, we stayed at the Fort Garry for the evening of our marriage, but I'm sure we haven't got that bill. And that goes back about 10 years. She said, give me a few minutes. She came back with the bill, just like that. And it was $8.50 for the evening. We didn't take advantage of it. I think we were busy or whatever. And I remember once I sometimes do things that she gets very upset with me. I bought a sit-down lawnmower. What the heck I needed that for when I had another company doing the lawn for me, I don't know. But it was a good deal at Sears. So I bought it. And I let it sit in the garage for a few years, never used it, of course. And she said, why don't you get it back? I said, how am I going to get it back? Do you think I have the bill? She says, I got it. She came up with the bill. You remember this? You don't remember. She came up with the bill. And we returned the lawnmower a couple years later. But she is so organized. I sit in the family room watching our TV, and I've got this roll of tracing paper beside me that somebody mentioned about was it Keith, that I work with tracing paper, and I just, whatever comes to my mind, I kind of put it down, and then my staff from the office is sitting right over there, and they'll certainly vouch for this. I come in quite often with new ideas, and it's probably something that changed the idea of yesterday, and I drive them crazy with ideas. But I sit in one room, and I'm doing my little work, and Yetta's sitting at the table, and she's doing her work, and then we of course have some coffee together, and of course we have some conversations, but we have a wonderful marriage. I want you to know that. I love her dearly, and you know that husbands are notorious for not telling their wives that. And it's unfortunate you can go through your whole life without telling your wife. But this is certainly an occasion that I have to tell her how much I do love her. Anytime you want me to quit, I don't, when I have a speech, when I'm through with reading the speech, it's all over. When I don't have a speech, beware. Because some people, when they don't have a speech, it's very short. And I don't have a speech. I just filibuster. I was watching, what was that, James Stewart movie where he was a filibuster, and he was in politics. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I just thought, we have a satellite. So the satellites, I love to watch Channel 254, which is AMC, American Movie Classics. And they're always about 50, 60 years old. And I just watched that. So he was a filibuster, and he finally fainted. That's the only way that they got him to finish his speech. He fainted. But I don't feel bad. So I think I'm here for a while. No, just a minute.
I just want you to know we've got some pastry.
What?
We got pastry.
And the band's ready to dance.
Yeah, we can dance.
Just a minute. Okay, well, if you want me to stop, I'll stop, but I have to say just one more.
Pastry and dance.
How can I express Yetta's and my appreciation of our family, of Diane, Shelley, Keith, those wonderful things that they said about us? Well, we know how they feel, because we're all very, very close. And Diane, you must have, and Shelley and Keith, you must have worked so hard to put this together. And I realized that because you worked so hard, you thought you might as well make a wedding out of it, so you called the rabbi. And you arranged for us to remarry. Anyway, I know that I haven't dealt with so many of my friends here, and I want you to know it's only because my son-in-law, he's not the president of this crappy Air Canada union. What are you? You're the something else?
Chairman.
Chairman of what?
The airline that's gone on strike 5 minutes ago.
Okay. So I want you to know, it wasn't the fact that you just told me to stop talking, because there's pastry and dancing, I would not miss anybody, so blame them. Thank you.
We want you to know that part of the package here was another night that you hopefully will be able to use at the Fort Garry Hotel. So now you've got 2 nights in a row that are paid for, one for $850 and one for whatever it costs a night. Anyway, when you get the time, you want to come back here with Yetta.
Did you just tell me I have to pay for this event?
No, it came with the package that we got here. So you've got a free night from tonight, but you can use your free night from your $8.50 bonus night from before. So you can stay for 2 nights now.
Why would I stay in this hotel when there's a wonderful hotel at the airport?
You're preaching to the converted, but I have to offer it to you anyway. Let's have some pastry. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, you can take the flower, you can take, not the balls, but just the flower.